Episode 7. The NBA is back. Opening night was December 22nd. We had two highly anticipated games. The narrative, we had Kevin Durant going up against Golden State for the first time since his injury. And then we had Battle of LA 3.0, 4.0, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to start with the Brooklyn game. That was the first game on the slate of opening night. The Warriors are kind of depleted due to Draymond Green was out and Klay Thompson, even though he was recovered from the torn ACL, he tore his Achilles, so he's done for the season. So to be honest, this was a lopsided game from the beginning. Brooklyn put on a show. Final score 129, Golden State 99. So it wasn't even close.
Yeah, the game wasn't even a competition. Like, it was done in the second quarter. They was basically over with. Yeah. So all you got is Steph. That's it. Once you get past Steph, who else you're going to? They had nobody else they could go to.
Yeah.
With Oubre not performing well that game at all, it was like lopsided. So Kyrie and KD just did what they want. They just had a field day, in all honesty. So it really wasn't. I didn't expect them to do nothing really anyway. I thought Steph would have scored more, if anything, but other than that, I didn't expect nothing less from this game.
Yeah. So I'll run off a couple of the stats. Kyrie had 26 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Kevin Durant had 22 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. Glad to see him back on the court. A lot of people are saying that he's back to looking like his old self 100%. I don't quite agree with that. I mean, I think he's getting there, but it was good to see him out there. And then we had Steph Curry. He had 20 points, 10 assists, and 4 rebounds. As you mentioned, outside of him, there wasn't much going on as far as scoring. So, I mean, he kind of had to handle the scoring load, set up the offense. So it was a tough night for him. And then we had the nightcap game was Lakers versus Clippers, ring ceremony night for the Lakers, which I kind of thought it would have been a little bit more closer, but I mean, I don't think the final score really is telling the true story of the game, because for the most part it wasn't close. It was a blowout for the most part.
I'm not gonna look. I mean, it was a blowout, but I just don't even look too close. And didn't the Clippers beat them last year too, the beginning of the season, and it's like I'm not really convinced. People may be convinced with this victory, but I'm not. Like, you got PG who scored like 33. Nobody expected that, but when it comes to the playoffs, is he gonna do it? I mean, this is the regular season, so it's like you're gonna show out, and then I don't know, but I didn't look too much into it. I thought the Lakers would have came out more hungry than anything, especially being a ring ceremony that night, all the emotions in the air. Would have thought that it would have went a different way, but the Clippers, came in and handled their business. I'll give it to them, but it was a very subpar game for the Lakers, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a highly efficient game for Paul George, but I agree with you. I just don't think a lot of that translates into the playoffs. And I mean, I think we kind of got robbed of that matchup with the Clippers getting knocked out early by the Nuggets. So, I mean, I know he calls himself playoff P, but I mean, it's still pandemic P in my eyes.
Yeah, it's playoff P, all right.
So, and I'm just going to run off a couple of the stats from that game as well. So, as you mentioned, PG had 33 points. Like I said, highly efficient, 13 of 18 field goals. So, way over 50% on his field goals. 6 rebounds, and he's doing 3 assists. Kawhi Leonard, not as efficient game for him. He chipped in 26 points, but 10 for 26 on field goals. So yeah, kind of a bad shooting night for him. He chipped in 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals. And then, which is also a little bit more parity in it, the Lakers now have Montrezl Harrell, who was a part of the Clippers last season. So, kind of on the other side now. He kind of flip-flopped. and he had a highly efficient night. He had 17 points on 6 or 7 field goals, so highly efficient for him. Chipped in 10 rebounds as well, so he had a double-double on the night and 3 assists. And Anthony Davis had 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. So
that's subpar from somebody who people are considering to possibly be MVP this year. Like first night of the season, you can't. And there's nobody on the Clippers team that can guard him. They're small, in a sense. So it's like having that on the first night is it's a little much of a letdown. But we'll see how that goes.
I don't really agree with the ESPN and all the NBA.com like player rankings. I think maybe he was the one who was like, no, not him. I think LeBron was one, and he was like 2 or something, or like 3. Don't get me wrong.
2 or 3, something like that.
Yeah, I think he's a good player, but I don't know. I think that championship run, I think they're kind of gassing it now. He's a top 3 player in the league right now. So, and then moving on. So later in the week, a few days later, we had a huge slate of Christmas games. I think we had a total of 5 games. From early in the day to the nightcap. The first game of the Christmas Day, we had the Pelicans versus the Heat. I really thought that the Pelicans were gonna win this game, but I was wrong. The Heat really throttled them in the second quarter. It was pretty close in the first quarter. In the second quarter, it was just like the Heat, they took off. A highlight from that game, Duncan Robinson, he was 7 for 13 from the 3-point range, and I think he set a Christmas Day record for like most threes made. I don't know if it was a half. I think it might have been a half because he was just going crazy, but he set a record. Pretty efficient from 3 for him. Zion had 32 points, 14 rebounds, and Brandon Ingram, he put up 28 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and I'm really starting to like his playmaking. I think everyone was down on him in LA. They kind of, they called him a bust and all of that, and now it's like once he got to New Orleans, we're starting to see more of his game. He won Most Improved last year, but he's continuing to elevate. He's not becoming stagnant. Last year it seemed like he was more of a scorer, and now it's like he's scoring and facilitating, coming to a playmaking role. So I'm really glad to see what he's gonna turn out to be the rest of his career.
Yeah, this is a letdown for me as far as New Orleans goes. Like you get a game where you play Miami with Jimmy playing bad.
Oh yeah, and I think he left.
He ended up leaving.
Yeah.
He ended up leaving the game for some injuries, but Jimmy was just out there running, and it's like you got Zion scoring 32, you got Ingram with 28, and then it's like, all right, I'm gonna lose to Duncan Robinson. I mean, not slouching him at all because he's a very, very great shooter, but it's like when you don't have your catalyst, like your go-to guy that's there performing, or he's injured or any type of reason, like it's just something that you have to take advantage of. I mean, it's still a young team anyway, for the most part, but it was still just a small letdown at the fact that Jimmy, wasn't Jimmy, and you couldn't take advantage and capitalize on it. So,
and also, I know kind of Duncan Robinson was like the spotlight, but down the stretch, the go-to guy, like you said, when Jimmy was out, was Goran Dragic. Like he had some really timely buckets, 3-pointers, takes to the rack. So I have to give him a lot of credit for that win as well. I don't think he scored a lot of points that game, but he scored when they really needed him to. So
veteran.
Yeah. And I think like Lonzo, I don't think he really showed up that great night game, and JJ Redick couldn't buy a bucket. I mean, he couldn't buy a bucket that game. So
Duncan Robinson was JJ Redick.
Literally, yeah, like they switched sides or something. But overall, like I said, I had picked New Orleans, but Miami just kind of throttled them from the second half, from the second quarter. So final score of that game was 98. New Orleans, Miami won 11. And then we had the second game of Christmas Day. We had the Golden State Warriors versus the Milwaukee Bucks. It might as well just been the Milwaukee Bucks versus the G League team. Steph still didn't have any help. But I'll let you go ahead and take this one away.
I mean, when you got that much firepower versus Steph, it's like Steph can't do nothing. I feel sorry for him, the fact that he's just out there by himself. But it's like, in a situation like this, though, you lost to Chris Middleton. I'm not. Everybody know I love the Bucks, man. I'm not doubting Chris Middleton. I mean, he's a great third or fourth option, but
that was like a backhand compliment. But continue.
You know, but you got Giannis on your team, and he just give you 15. Chris Middleton gave you 31 by himself. Like, so you basically, in all honesty, you lost to Chris Middleton. I think like Giannis was the next top scorer in line with 15. Drew had 12, and DJ Augustine gave us 11 off the bench. Like, so it's like you really lost to Chris Middleton. And I mean, I do feel sorry for Steph that he had to go through that. First 2 games of the season, you got to face KD with Kyrie, then you got to come in and face Giannis. Well, in all honesty, you got to face Chris Middleton clearly. So, but it was just an up and down run for Milwaukee. It was just getting their win back because it was like no competition at all.
So are you going to walk back the Chris Middleton as an all-star statement, or you still stand on that?
I still stand on that. He's not an all-star. I will still stand on that. I'll continue to stand on that.
Okay, so even though, like I said, it could have been a G League team, the Golden State Warriors are an NBA team, and they have real professional basketball players. The man put up 31 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals, and he's still not an all-star. A real all-star.
Is he gonna do that versus the Nets? Is he gonna do that versus the top talent that we need to get out of the East? Or is he just gonna continue to show out with the G League?
Well, the way you talk, like the Bucks coming out, so yeah, apparently.
Man, I need him. I need him to show up, but I mean, it was a great. I mean, maybe NBA players, they need confidence as well. So, scoring that many points, seeing the ball go through the net, it could transition to the next few couple games. I mean, sometimes that's all a person needs, in all honesty. So it could transition, but he's still not an all-star. Just throw that out there.
And not for nothing, he did go crazy in the playoffs to get y'all a win against the Heat to avoid the sweep. But we're not gonna dwell on the past. We're gonna keep it moving. We're not gonna dwell on the past. Third game, we had the Brooklyn Nets versus the Boston Celtics. This was kind of like another revenge game for the Nets. Earlier in the week, we had KD going up against the old team, and now we have Kyrie going up against the old team. So, we had a lot of storylines from Christmas Day. It wasn't close. I knew Kyrie would take this game personal. I kind of had my money on him being the leading scorer out of everybody. I kind of figured that. Final score was Brooklyn 123, Boston 95. Like I said, Kyrie, he led the way with 37 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal. He was showing out. He was pulling up like 3 to 5 feet behind the 3, contested, like whatever. Yeah, he was on. KD chipped in as well, 29 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Like I said earlier, a lot of people are saying he's back to looking like his old self. I don't think he's 100% there, but he has flashed that he is getting back into that mode, so good to see that. But I think the surprise of the game was Jaylen Brown. I'll be the first one to say when he first came into the league, I figured he would be nothing more than like a slasher, dunk, rebound, stuff like that. But he's totally transformed his game. He can score at all 3 levels. I know people frown upon counting the mid-range, but he can get you a mid-range bucket. Obviously, he can go to the rack, layups, or he can dunk on you. And the 3-ball has become really, really efficient for him in his game. So he led the Celtics with 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. So I would like to see a little bit more playmaking from him. But obviously with Tatum, I think he's going to be a little bit more of the playmaker with Kemba Walker out. So we'll see. But go ahead.
Just want to shout out my nigga T-Mac. You feel me? He was training with T-Mac over the last couple of summers, putting in that work with my boy.
Yeah, okay.
You know, it's trying to show. It's time to show out. You already know, man.
Do you think Giannis should go? Never mind. Never mind. Let's stay on topic. Let's just stay on topic. So yeah, I'm really I was really impressed with Jaylen Brown's performance. Tatum played well also, but yeah. I think they're gonna need Kemba back to make a deep playoff run. It's good to see both Tatum and Brown kind of take over the playmaking role, but I think I want them more as far as on the offensive end in attack mode, going downhill, getting to the bucket, getting a foul, getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, I wonder how they're gonna be when Kemba comes back. That's the question. That's the real question for that one. Yeah, Kyrie just definitely did show out. I don't know what to say to half of the shots that he hit. It was just ridiculous. In all honesty, that's something you just can't stop. Them your boys. You know what I'm saying?
I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he says or some of the antics, but on the court, man, I don't. Like I said, he's one of my top 3-point guys. And when he gets it going, it's hard to stop him. So, moving on, we had the Dallas Mavericks versus the Lakers. I didn't really think that this would be much of a contest. I know everybody's really high on Luka. He's going to be the MVP, this, that, and the third. But I don't think that Mavericks team is really that good without Porzingis. They have some solid pieces, but they don't have another like superstar that's going to get them out the West. The West is deep this year, like deep. So the final score was 138. LA 115. Dallas. Luka had 27 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. Anthony Davis on the other side, he had 28 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Yeah, it wasn't close. It was a field day for the Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers just did what they want. AD showed up this game and just took control of the whole game. Dallas, without Porzingis, I mean, it's kind of hard for them to do anything. Luka needs that extra push, that extra help. I'm really, in all honesty, that game, don't quote me on this, but the one thing I did like from him was that he didn't settle for no threes.
Luka?
Yeah, he didn't settle for no threes that game when I was watching it. Because, last year, he'd take the step back, hand in his face, but he was bully ball for the most part, bullying all the point guards. I mean, he is taller, like I said, he's taller, but he didn't settle for the three at all. So that's a good sign. But I mean, when you go up against the Lakers, it's like you don't have you got to face LeBron and AD. It's like you got Luka and Josh Richardson. So it's like,
it's gonna be tough.
What could you possibly do? Hopefully Porzingis gets back soon. It's possible to help out, but this game, it was pretty much a wash for the most part. It was lopsided.
Yeah. So how do you feel about his chances on MVP?
He probably won't get it, in all honesty. I mean, if you look at the MVPs over since forever, most of the MVPs that they've always had winning records for one. I mean, I feel like Dallas is gonna eventually possibly have a winning record if Porzingis come back in some type of good shape or form, but it's still gonna be a possible 5th through 8th seed. So I mean, you normally never seen no MVP that didn't have a winning team.
Yeah, I think the last one was Russ with the triple-double season. I think he was either 4 or 5 seed, and he got the MVP. But
that's just a legendary season. You can't really.
But I just feel like the NBA is pushing this narrative with him. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, as the season progresses, we'll see. But on a later episode, we're gonna really talk about his shooting because I keep hearing people talk about he can shoot threes, but that percentage, man. Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. But we'll get into that on a later episode. But let's go ahead and talk about the last game of Christmas Day, or you can call it Christmas night. We had another revenge game in a sense. We had the Clippers versus the Nuggets. And I think we're all aware the Nuggets basically upset the Clippers in the playoffs last season. They came back from a 3-1 deficit and knocked them out the playoffs. So I kind of figure, like the Clippers will be on one this game. I mean, they came out against the Lakers on ring night and they showed up. So I figure they'll show up for this game as well. And it was nothing short of that expectation. Final score wound up being 121. Clippers to 108 the Nuggets. So yeah, it was a beatdown, to be honest.
I hope Jamal Murray see this, but what was you doing? I expected so much. Like, I literally watched the whole game and I was just waiting for that moment where he was gonna snap, and he never snapped. It was just like he was just there floating around. Like, you had this like big legendary bubble performances, 40s, 30s, taking over games, and it's like it was at a point in time where the Nuggets actually needed him to step up. Clippers was trying to make a run, but the stuff that he did in the bubble is like, no matter if they make a run or not, if you got his foot down your neck the whole quarter, last quarter, so that changes the whole dynamic of the game. Like, Jokic did his thing, he's gonna do his Jokic thing. One rebound away from a triple-double, you know what I'm saying? But nobody else really came through. It's like Jamal Murray is that next person to step up, and he did not at all. I mean, you got Michael Porter Jr., but they mostly kind of use him as a stand at the 3-point line, shoot, and if you got a smaller guard on you, they throw it to him down low. And it's not like they giving him those one-on-one opportunities, but like I said, he didn't show up that game either. I mean, Murray had 23, but it just wasn't the Murray. It wasn't the Murray thing. It was a rough 23 for him when I was watching the game. I thought it would have been better. I thought he would have tried to put up more, but it was just too little, too late.
And I'm high with Jamal Murray. Like you mentioned, his performance in the bubble was legendary. So one thing that may be I hope it doesn't become a trend with him. Maybe he's one of those guys like a playoff Rondo. Like, when the lights aren't really on, he performs. I mean, I know that was a national televised game, but like when it really counts, maybe that's when he really shows up. But I hope he can be a little bit more consistent with the level of play that he had in the bubble. I mean, I don't think he needs 40 a night, but if he can give 20 to 25 a night, I think that would help him a lot. So, and I think he's gonna have to do that. Like I said, the West is really deep, so if they want to have any chance of kind of repeating some of that success and going as far as they did last season, he's gonna have to be able to play his part with Jokic.
He really looked like he was trying to go into like point guard mode, like. And in my like, he's not a point guard. Like, he's a scorer. Like, that's what he does. He's a natural born scorer. I mean, you got Jokic is definitely not your point guard, but I mean, the man averages a lot of assists a game. Over his just in his career, he averaged 6.7 a game.
They definitely run the offense through him. So I mean, like I said, he's not a point guard, but he's there. He sets up the offense majority of the time. But I know you mentioned Michael Porter. He has to do something on defense. I don't know what's the problem. He has the athleticism, and it's just like he's a liability on defense.
It could just be the getting used to the NBA speed. I mean, he technically didn't have a whole season to get adjusted to just NBA speed, but he got the athleticism. He has the wingspan. Like, I can't see him just sitting up there guarding Kyrie's and Westbrook's, but your typical small forward wing players. You know what I'm saying? He should have that athleticism, that length to it. I just feel like he probably just needs to get used to NBA speed, because it's like that's a whole different level of speed when you coming from high. Basically, you came from high school because you played one game in college.
Yeah.
You played one game in college, so it's like you got people attacking you now. You got people that's unknown. We got the Dorian Finney-Smiths in the world. They driving by you. You're like, what kind of message?
I mean, he was vocal about wanting his touches on offense. So I mean, you got to get vocal on defense, then, man.
You got to do something. You can't just say that you want touches on offense and then you can't play defense. It's like
you're not
contradicting itself. You can't. I don't want to give you touches if you're not gonna play defense. Why don't I give you touches? You can't guard this person, or you can't help me out on defense, but you want to shoot more.
Yeah.
And you're not Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, so it's like you can't.
He's not an all-star yet.
He ain't an all-star yet, bro.
He has potential, but it's not there yet. But I just run off a couple stats from the game. So as I mentioned before, the final score was Clippers 121, Nuggets 108. Paul George, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal. First 2 games for Kawhi have been rocky as far as efficiency. I mean, he's putting up 20 plus, but it's just like he's having to shoot 20 plus shots, so it's not really that efficient. You know what I mean? And we're used to Kawhi being way more efficient than that in the past few years, at least. And then Joker for the Nuggets, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. So 1 rebound short of a triple double. So I mean, it's like he's right back into his usual mode. Scoring, rebound, setting up the offense. So hopefully he can get some help from, like we said, Murray, Porter, Harris, and I think this season Will Barton should be returning from his injury, so I think that will help as well. So it'll be interesting to see how far they can go in the playoffs and where they'll wind up in the West this season. So we'll have to keep them in mind.
So these couple games, what are you seeing? Are the Clippers and the Lakers the juggernauts all over again?
I mean, I think the Lakers are still at the top. I feel like the Clippers have kind of taken a step back towards the rest of the pack. Like at first, last season, it's like the LA's and everybody else, but now I don't really see it that way. Like, I feel like they're beatable. I don't think they made any acquisitions in the offseason. As far as upgrade, I mean, they did get Serge Ibaka, but I mean, I don't think he's just. Oh, they got Serge Ibaka and they got Batum, but I don't think those were like game-changing pickups. So yeah, I think they kind of brought themselves closer back to the rest of the West.
If anything, they just revived Nicholas Batum's career because his career was gone when he was with the Hornets. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he didn't even play. I really thought he was hurt, but they just wasn't playing him.
Nah, they just weren't playing him. They didn't want to play him, but he could revive his career with the Clippers. But it just seems like the Clippers and the Lakers are just the juggernauts. No matter who starts off good, bad, doesn't matter. They're probably gonna be your 2 teams in the West, and Nets and Brooklyn. I'm not saying Nets in Brooklyn. Nets in Milwaukee in the East, with a possibility of the Celtics if Kemba can come back good. But that's basically it. I mean, everybody else is pretty much fighting for every other spot. In all honesty, in my eyes. But we will see. Time will tell.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more trades. Harden, I feel like he's going to wind up leaving Houston. I know he still does have a year left on his contract, but I don't think he's going to finish the season as a Rocket. So yeah, 2021 guys, look forward to seeing us more consistently on your timeline. We're going to spam your Facebook, your Instagram. We really don't have a Snapchat yet, but we might make one for 2021. So 2021, be on the lookout for the Freshman Podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and we're out.